Thanks for joining us at 4:30. After days of sunshine, we are waking up to steady rainfall across the Sound. Rich Marriott is also tracking that system that could bring some snow to the lowlands. And you're taking a live look at Washington, D.C. this morning. A federal investigation is underway into what caused an American Eagle jet and a Black Hawk helicopter to crash. A car engulfed in flames ended up in Angle Lake with a person inside. What we know about the moments leading up to the deadly incident. Plus, a former high school basketball coach is convicted of sex crimes against his players.
It made me feel way more confident and way more safe. I just felt like I knew everything was going to be okay.
This morning, reaction to the verdict from a young athlete who testified against him. It is a first alert weather day on this Friday morning. We are tracking some much needed rain and snowfall in the mountains. That same system could bring snow down to the lowlands this weekend. So good morning. I'm Shantae Sumter. Of course, we want to get right to you, Rich.
Good morning. Thanks for waking up with us on this last day of January. Yeah. I'm Mimi John.
I'm Jake Wittenberg, and it's a Friday. Good to see you at 5 o'clock this morning in the news. 2 black boxes have now been recovered from the wreckage of the mid-air collision in Washington, D.C.
There's just no words to describe. It's just unimaginable.
But family and friends of the passengers on board are grieving right now as we learn more about those who died in the tragedy.
A former high school basketball coach is convicted of sex crimes against his players.
It made me feel way more confident and way more safe. I just felt like I knew everything was going to be okay.
This morning, reaction to the verdict from a young athlete who testified against him.
And Costco now has less than 24 hours to reach a deal with a union representing some of its workers. No contract today means thousands of employees will strike tomorrow, including some here in Washington.
And this morning, our dry January is turning wet. We're getting heavy rain for the first time in weeks. It's a first alert weather day as we give you a live look at the rain coming down in Tacoma, Seattle, and Everett. And a warning if you're headed out the door this morning, it could be a slick commute.
First comes the rain, but then the snow. Rich is tracking a winter storm that could bring some flakes to the lowlands. And up in the mountains right now, it's already full blast at Stevens Pass, where snow is dumping above 4,000 feet. You can see a foot of fresh powder by the end of the weekend. Wow, exciting stuff up there. Thanks for being with us here to round out the work week. We'll get right to the roads with Shantae in a moment.
And first, though, let's talk about the weather here on this first alert weather day. What do we expect? How much rain are we going to get?
Well, first of all, highlighting the mountain snow and
last night, we got to witness the closest thing to a Nirvana reunion as you're going to get. Special guests filled Fire Aid's lineup last night, including the surviving members of Seattle's famous grunge band. Dave Grohl on the drums, Chris Novelichek on bass, and guitarist Pat Smear rounding out the special moment. Grohl's daughter Violet also filling in for Kurt Cobain. Green Day on your screen here too. It was a massive 5-hour benefit concert to support the victims of the California wildfires. Lady Gaga, Billie Eilish, Stevie Nicks, all among the names to perform. What a night. I love that shirt there.
Quite a concert for sure. Yeah. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on this last day of January. I'm Mimi John.
I'm Jake Wittenberg. Yeah, happy Friday. January almost behind us. Now at 6. A lot going on here to round out the work week. Overnight showers moved into our region for the first time in weeks. A live look outside where the rain is coming down in Tacoma, Seattle, and Everett this morning. If you're headed out the door, it could be a slick commute too. And look at the radar. First comes the rain, then the snow. Rich is tracking a winter storm that could bring some flakes to the lowlands. And up on the pass, it is piling up at this hour. Snow is coming down hard at Stevens and Snoqualmie. More than a foot of fresh snow expected over the next few days.
With the black boxes now recovered, investigators are one step closer to learning why a commercial jet and a military helicopter collided.
There's just no words to describe. It's just unimaginable.
67 victims. And this morning, we're learning more about who died in the crash.
And the clock is ticking for Costco this morning. Thousands of employees are on the verge of a strike, while some of those warehouse workers are getting a bump in pay.
We're gonna have fun now.
Okay. We weren't having fun before?
And carrying a lot of stress and tension in your muscles, Jake and I share how you can stretch it all out in today's Fitness Friday. Something everyone could use.
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys seem taller.
We do. I'm at least a few inches taller after that.
Yeah. Well, it's not the Super Bowl, but it's the Pro Bowl, and the games are happening now in Orlando. I love the new format. Dodgeball is one of them. Big cat Leonard Williams of your Seattle Seahawks playing in the dodgeball game. Check this out. Boom. Do not try to get Big Cat out of the game. There he is, also throwing the ball and having a blast at the Pro Bowl, just smiling it up. He finally ends up getting out of the big game. He didn't actually end up winning it. His team was knocked out. But how about the Pro Bowl games, you guys? These are fun. Dodgeball.
They had to find a way to, make it a little more interesting, I feel like, because you don't want to get hurt being tackled, of course, in the offseason.
Fewer injuries in dodgeball.
$1 million
That's
legs.
true.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And that brings me back to the elementary school playground.
Yeah.
Oh, right?
I love dodgeball.
I did too. That's one of my
Dodgeball,
favorite games.
too.
Yeah. Always got.
Good afternoon. I'm Christine Pay. Next at noon, a Costco worker strike could be right around the corner. We'll break down the impacts if a deal isn't reached by midnight tonight.
I heard a pop and I noticed all the birds fly off, and I looked toward the dock and it was blazing on fire.
A car engulfed in flames ends up in a western Washington lake with one person inside. What led up to the deadly incident?
We are in first alert weather mode all the way through Monday morning. I'm tracking heavy mountain snow and the potential for some snow in the lowlands as well. Those details are coming up.
Plus, they could hold the answers into what caused the deadly mid-air collision in Washington, D.C., what investigators have recovered, plus the shocking new video surfacing today. King 5 News at noon starts now. We are heading into 4 days of first alert weather conditions as rain and heavy mountain snow arrives in western Washington. We have already seen the storm roll in this morning, bringing wet roads for the morning commute. Here is a live look out to Snoqualmie and Stevens Pass this noon. The snow has been coming down hard with several inches accumulating. By tomorrow, we could see about 2.5 feet of snow in the mountains. You can see WashDOT has also those trucks fueled up and ready to go for the weekend. Meteorologist Ashley Ruiz joins us now from the First Alert Weather Center. Of course, everyone wants to know about what we'll see in the lowlands.
The avalanche conditions this weekend will be very serious.
Danger on the high slopes, heavy snow slams the mountains, and more is in the forecast.
It is a first alert weather weekend as rain falls in the lowlands, and this will be transitioning to snow this weekend. I'll show you when in your first alert forecast.
18 is charged after a violent robbery leaves an elderly woman with a broken back.
There was a struggle at first, and then he shoved her down.
The shocking number of stolen guns, keys, and credit cards he was found with.
If you make a mistake, people die.
High stress and no room for error. The air traffic control industry now under the microscope after 67 people die in a mid-air collision.
The state looks at banning all flavored vape and tobacco products.
There's flavors like strawberry banana, pina colada.
It's a move to keep kids from getting hooked on nicotine. But what about the impact to adults?
Now at 4, it is a first alert weather day. There are very dangerous avalanche conditions near Snoqualmie Pass and southward, according to the National Weather Service. And this is why heavy snow is hitting the mountains and could bring more than a foot by morning. You will want to take precautions before driving on the mountain passes now and through the weekend. Right now, you will need chains to cross Snoqualmie Pass unless you have all-wheel drive. Traction tires are advised on Stevens and White Pass passes, and all that could quickly change.
Western Washington is also buzzing over the chance of lowland snow. Snow elevations will drop over the next several days, so you will want to be prepared. Meteorologist Leah Pizzetti has all those details, and we'll have them in less than 2 minutes.
And thanks for watching King 5 News at 4.
King 5 News at 5 starts now.
He got out of the vehicle, targeted the 72-year-old, grabbed her purse.
An 18-year-old faces a slew of charges after a robbery left an elderly woman with a broken back.
There was a struggle at first, and then he shoved her down.
Evidence suggests he was not working alone.
We are in first alert weather mode all weekend long as active weather moves in. It's starting as low-level rain and mountain snow, but by the end of this weekend, everybody has snow chances. I'll show you who has the best shot straight ahead.
As the temperatures drop, shelters up north are filling up, and that's putting a strain on budgets and staff.
We are having some people hang out in the lobby instead of cots.
The high cost of cold weather in Whatcom County. Air traffic control is under the microscope after that tragic mid-air crash over D.C.
If you make a mistake, people die.
Understaffing is just one of many stressors facing control towers.
This is King 5 News at 5 with Joyce Taylor.
New details just into the King 5 newsroom about a small plane crash in Philadelphia tonight. You can see the smoke there and flames in this video from the scene. The Learjet took off from a nearby airport in northeast Philly, crashed into a neighborhood right near a mall. This was a medevac flight on its way to Missouri. There were 2 people on board, we understand. It is not clear yet whether a patient was on that plane as well. There are reports that some homes are also on fire tonight. We, of course, will continue to track the latest on this crash throughout the evening and bring you any updates. Well, it was a busy day across the Cascades as fresh powder drew skiers to the slopes, but conditions are a bit treacherous in spots and will remain that way through the weekend as a winter storm threatens to dump 2 to 3 feet of snow along the mountain passes. That snow could make it as low as Seattle by Saturday night, meaning roadways around the Sound could prove dangerous in spots as things aren't expected to improve until next week. Your first alert forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Glad you're with us tonight on King 5 News at 5. I'm Greg Copeland in for Joyce tonight. A robbery suspect accused of targeting elderly women is in custody tonight. Bellevue police made that arrest.
The avalanche conditions this weekend will be very serious.
A winter storm warning is in effect with our mountain passes expecting more than a foot of snow this weekend. We could even see some snow in the lowlands.
Here we are, we're in first alert through the weekend after tracking steady mountain rain and heavy mountain snow. Our focus now turns to the lowlands. Coming up, we'll talk timing and totals.
They were specifically targeting individuals who appeared to be vulnerable.
An 18-year-old is accused of robbing elderly women across King and Snohomish counties. How investigators tracked him down.
We don't want to end up like California is right now.
Could the wildfires that devastated Southern California happen in Washington?
Only takes one incident for people to go, I should have.
Tonight, the King 5 investigators uncover the fight to protect homeowners, not just from wildfires, but from losing their insurance, too.
First alert mode is activated tonight as a powerful storm system moves into western Washington. A winter storm warning is in effect right now with heavy snow hitting the mountains.
Right now in the lowlands, we are seeing a healthy dose of rain, but everyone is buzzing about the potential for some lowland snow as we head into the weekend. Thank you for being with us. I'm Jessica Janner Castro.
I'm Greg Copeland. Chief Meteorologist Mike Everett here now to break down what we can expect. Hey, Mike.
We are having some people hang out in the lobby instead of cots.
As another dose of winter weather moves into western Washington, the cold temperatures this month are proving costly for local governments.
One of the elements of this high stress level is if you make a mistake, people die.
As federal investigators look for evidence following the mid-air collision over D.C., the FAA is taking one of its strongest actions yet to reduce the risk of mid-air collisions.
Also tonight, Washington lawmakers consider banning all flavored tobacco and vape products, while health officials argue the products target teens and young adults.
We are in first alert mode tonight as a storm system brings heavy rain and snow to western Washington. The passes could see more than a foot of snow with a winter storm warning in effect. Good evening and thanks for being with us. I'm Jessica Janner Castro.
I'm Greg Copeland. Besides the rain, the lowlands could see some snow. Let's get to meteorologist Leah Pizzetti tracking the latest conditions for us.
We're back in first alert tonight as we are tracking temperatures that could potentially be record-breaking, and that's before we factor in wind chill.
We've never experienced anything like the Trump administration has been doing in the first 2 weeks.
Some programs in our state are still recovering from President Trump's attempt to freeze federal funding.
Thinking about all the scenarios that could have gone wrong and gotten worse.
4 lives lost in a bus crash near Wenatchee. One of the survivors recounts the moments leading up to that head-on collision.
You're only supposed to play each game once because there's so many games. When I came back for the 4th time, I knew there was something special about this game.
Tetris just turned 40. The man who brought it to Nintendo is now on a new mission he says will be a game changer for the environment.
But it is a first alert weather night as western Washington is once again hit with a stretch of dangerously cold weather. Here's a look at how cold it will get tomorrow morning with the wind chill. The cold weather advisory is in effect for much of the region through Wednesday morning.
Let's bring in our chief meteorologist, Mike Everett, who has the latest on this cold snap, how long it will last, and just how low those temperatures are going to go.
I got a bunch of stuff to make soup, so I can do a big old pot of soup so I don't have to go anywhere.
People around the Sound are bracing for what could be our first snow event in the lowlands this winter, how they are preparing.
Here we are, we're in first alert through the weekend after tracking steady mountain rain and heavy mountain snow. Our focus now turns to the lowlands. Coming up, we'll talk timing and totals.
Could a wildfire disaster like the one in Southern California happen in Washington? The King 5 investigators uncover the urgent fight to protect homeowners from devastating fires and the growing threat of losing insurance.
He was Monroe famous long before he was world famous.
A singer from Monroe is nominated for a Grammy this weekend. Tonight we hear from Benson Boone's former teachers about his journey to fame. Our first chance for lowland snow this winter is happening this weekend. It's a first alert weather night as we track a storm pushing in through western Washington, and we have already seen heavy snow falling in the mountains today. You can see it coming down right now quite heavily in Stevens Pass. All of that wet snow is increasing avalanche danger across the Cascades. Thank you for being with us at 10 o'clock. I'm Jessica Janner Castro.
And I'm Madison Wade. We have team coverage for you tonight. Jim Nelson is in Everett, where the first snowflakes are expected to start falling tonight.
Timing and totals.
We don't want to end up like California is right now.
Could the wildfires that devastated Southern California happen in Washington?
Only takes one incident for people to go, I should have.
The King 5 investigators uncover the fight to protect homeowners not just from fires, but from losing their insurance.
Win or lose, the nomination is the win.
And Monroe High School is cheering on a graduate nominated for Best New Artist at the Grammys.
He was Monroe famous long before he was world famous.
Heavy snow is falling in the mountains tonight as other parts of western Washington brace for winter weather. This is a look at the conditions at Stevens Pass right now. Snow levels expected to drop to the lowlands this weekend. We have first alert weather team coverage for you tonight. We're going to begin with Chief Meteorologist Mike Everett tracking where and when we could see it.
Hi, Greg. So I was up at Alpental earlier today and